Yellow Car by Juggin.
Once upon a time, the world was very dependent upon oil. For some communities, it meant everything. The big tankers in the harbor and the diesel train transported the petroleum to every corner of the country and the world. All along the hillsides were pumps working around the clock to meet demands. It was a town time seemed to have forgotten, a town where you had everything you needed and you didn't need anything you couldn't get. There were the old free engine and the local police. Good morning, Chief. Good morning, Sheriff. And there were the town originals who had seen many years come and go. The one thing everybody could agree on was who was the toughest, fastest, and most awesome piece of machinery of them all. Hot Rod. He had won every race he had ever been in and brought considerable fame to the city of Raymond. The next race was being announced, and it seemed that this was a big one. And finally the moment arrived. Hot Rod, what happened? What crazy mechanic did this to you? Speak to us, Hot Rod. No, guys, I'm up here. That little car is some new car. I've been sitting here all this time while he's been working on that. Well, then who the heck are you, and why did you have the racing number painted on your side? Well, I guess you could say the bulk of me originally comes from a B&W Isetta, but I'm really a hodgepodge of different cars, pieced together and rebuilt by your mechanic. My soft top is a solar panel collecting the sun's rays, converting them to energy so I can store my battery. You mean you can't go vroom vroom and make black exhaust smoke? That's right. You see, I'm an electric car. I don't need any sort of fuel whatsoever. He's got no tailpipe at all. He's some kind of freak. And it sank to that little yellow car that was going to compete in the race instead of the old hot rod. They all turned around and drove away, disgruntled. He was without a friend, given the cold shoulder by everyone. That auto mechanic must have gone mad, and they all agreed that something must be done, so they all agreed. In the dark of the night, they set out to collect what they perceived to be a terrible mistake. They woke up the yellow car and pretended they wanted him to come party with them. Have a drink, pal, they said, and then they poured gasoline in him. The yellow car didn't want him to let them down, so he just wanted to fit in and be their friend. You know what happens when you put gasoline in an electric car? You have the strangest dreams, and the yellow car felt like he was in outer space on the bottom of the ocean. He passed out, and that's exactly what the town folks wanted him to do. They loaded him into a tow truck and off the train station they went with him. While the big diesel engine was being distracted by small talk, they put the yellow car on the train and gently so he wouldn't wake up. They hid him under the tarp so no one would see him. "You can't talk no more," says the big diesel. "Time to go." And our ugly duckling little yellow car knowingly was sent out to town due south. Well, that takes care of that. I hope we never see him again. And remember, not a word to anybody. Keep your news to yourself, Mill Truck. Act 2. After a really long sleep, the yellow car woke up. "Why are you not getting anywhere, little bird?" asked the yellow car, confused. "It's not me who's standing still. It's you who's moving," he replied. The train wagon right in front of him was a stack of old cars, flat as pancakes. They were going to be turned into soda cans. He sure was. As soon as the train pulled into the final stop, they were all way down in Mexico. Because he had entered the country illegally without proper papers, he was towed and impounded by the local police. He was booked and his tires were printed and mugshot taken. He was locked up with a rough bunch of characters. Some had been there for years and quickly understood that the only way out was to bribe somebody. So he gave them every piece of chrome he had on him, his hubcaps, his bumper, and his side view mirrors. It was a good thing he was an electric car because he didn't need gasoline or water, and boy was it really hot. Sitting there in the pile of junk dirt, there was an old beat-up VW bus. "Hey, little Philly," he said, "give me some gasoline, I'll help you get across the border without anyone noticing." The car found some oil drums filled with something. It wasn't exactly petroleum gasoline, but the old hippie didn't seem to mind. "Hell, I can run just about on anything," he said. He started right up. "Now let's get you back to the good old USA," he said. And he showed the way to a secret crossing place he had used many times in the past. He wouldn't say for what, but that didn't matter. Boy, were they happy to get back home. They drove as fast as they could to get away from the border. North by northwest, in the distance, they could hear a plane spraying the crops. "Can you please help me?" he said. "Please, I've run out of gas." "Good thing we brought this along." Plump. In return for the gasoline, the plane gave 2 cars a snapshot of themselves in the air, and the old spy plane was out spraying the crops to make the ends meet. The cars thanked him and went on their way. They stopped at the gas station and asked for directions. There was a 1951 Jeep who had fought in the war. He said he could find his way anywhere, but he could never get lost. The VWOs on the old army Jeep started arguing about the war, and all of a sudden the VWOs didn't seem so friendly anymore. The other car tried to make them stop and make them like each other, but they really needed help finding their way. They were going to make it race in time. The big Jeep agreed to come along, and they were singing an old army song, and the VWS didn't really sing along. He was still kind of sour. And if that wasn't enough, it started to snow heavily. None of them had snow tires, but the Jeep and his four-wheel drive, that helped a little. They were totally lost in the cold, and the yellow car battery was running low because the sun was nowhere to be seen, but down the mountain it came anyway. They ended up on the highway leading to the big city. They couldn't turn around. Were in the middle of the worst traffic jam. They drove as fast as they could. It seemed they were going to make it in the nick of time. When they arrived at the race site, the guess who was there? The sheriff and the fire engine. They wouldn't let the yellow car in, but he had come too far to be denied entrance by those bullies. He zipped right past them and entered as the last car. Started out shot sound when they were off. They couldn't stop the yellow car. When he tried with a nasty oil spill.
Uh-oh.
And it paid off. Unfortunately, raced across the finish line far ahead of the other cars. And finally, the last one, the little yellow car. We were sorry. We didn't care that you didn't win. You're still the best, said the VW and the Jeep were trying to cheer up the yellow car.
Aww.
This is an old-fashioned combustion engine.
What?
Rally for alternative power autos. This race is for alternative power cars only. You're disqualified. Give me back our wreath. Come, yellow car, they said. Go up there and show them. So the yellow car drove up, and judges opened up the door, and all the tickets had accumulated fell out into the ground. When the judges saw that this was proof of his amazing journey, he verified that he didn't drive the whole course on one single solar battery. They said, heck with who won the race, this is our winner.
Yay!
And the turn of the whole point of the race would have been to find the best design suited for the new production of electric cars. And the yellow car was exactly what they've been looking for. He became the prototype and was quite the honor. Car became an instant hit and was a huge production. Demand was high. They sold all over the world, and they came out in many different colors. Back in the small town of Raymond, they saw the craze that swept the land. It was quite the popular car. I'm scheduled to be converted into an electric car too, the sheriff said proudly. The mail truck announced no arrival in town. A brand new pink electric car. She was very pretty. Yellow car enjoyed telling her all about the adventure, and she enjoyed going to the movies with him. The end.